Have you ever worked with a client who is clearly intelligent, clearly reflective, clearly motivated, and yet somehow keeps falling apart in the same moments? They understand their patterns, they can explain them beautifully. They've done breath work, mindset work, trauma work, maybe all of it. And still, when pressure shows up, it's like the lights go out. They say the wrong thing, they freeze, they overreact, they disappear. And if you're honest as a coach, there's that quiet moment where you think, why isn't this landing? And it's not because they're resisting or they're a bad person or because you're a bad coach. And it's not because you're missing the wrong insights. It's usually because you're trying to work above the level where the system is actually breaking. And this is what coherence points to. Okay, before we go further, your style of coherence will be shaped by your nervous system and embodiment pattern. We call this your skin. There are 4 primary ways that the nervous system organizes under pressure. Some bodies resist and brace, that's the warrior. Some yield and adapt, that's the shapeshifter. Some narrow and orient, that's the sage, and some widen and sense, that is the asset. These are not personalities, they're somatic response strategies, and they shape how you handle conflict, leadership, visibility, intimacy, decision-making, and the moments that actually matter. So knowing your skin will not give you a limiting label. It'll reveal how your nervous system expresses and where your strengths and your blind spots tend to live. So pause the video, go down into the description and take the Somatic Skins Quiz. It'll take about 2 minutes. You'll receive your initial descriptions and then you can come back. Everything I'm about to share on coherence will make a lot more sense. Okay, when we talk about coherence, we are not talking about a buzzword or about being calm or centered or regulated in a soft, Instagram-y way. Coherence is much more mechanical than that. It's about whether a nervous system can stay organized when something real is happening. Pressure is what reveals it. Conflict reveals it. Decision-making reveals it. Relationships reveal it. A coherent system can take in information cleanly, mobilize the right amount of energy, act, and then recover. An incoherent system doesn't just struggle, it distorts. Reality comes in warped because the architecture can't carry the load. That's where the 5 coherences come in. They are not psychological categories or personalities. They are the 5 conditions a human nervous system actually needs in order to function reliably. And when one of them fails, the others do not politely stay intact. Everything leaks. The first place it always starts is in structure. Not posture in the sit up straight sense. Structure is how a body organizes itself against gravity. Whether the skeleton is actually carrying the load or whether the nervous system is compensating constantly just to try and stay upright. You see this all the time once you start looking. Someone talking about something emotional and their chest collapses. Someone thinking hard and their breath disappears. Someone standing and somehow still working to stand. A body that's fighting gravity doesn't have spare capacity for perception. It's busy surviving its own architecture. And this is the part that's uncomfortable for a lot of coaches because you cannot think your way out of a structural problem until the body is organized enough to stand, hinge, breathe, and stabilize without strain. Clarity will always be temporary. Structure is boring, but it's also non-negotiable. Once structure is stable, energy starts telling the truth again. So energetic coherence isn't about being calm. Some moments will require calm. Others require intensity. What matters is whether the system can produce the right amount of activation for what is actually happening, and then shift when the moment changes. When that's online, effort feels sustainable. Breath adapts on its own. Sensation carries information instead of noise. When it's offline, events polarize. Either the system is buzzing and braced, urgent or overamped, or it's flat, foggy, heavy, and underpowered. Both states distort perception, and a lot of what people call emotional dysregulation is actually the nervous system misreading mechanical stress as psychological threat. This is why stabilizing structure first changes everything. Once the frame can carry load, energy becomes surprisingly fast to retrain. Attention is where most people think the problem is because it's what they notice. They say they can't focus, or they're scattered, or they hyperfixate or tunnel on something. But attention is not a mental skill. It's a bodily behavior. You can see attentional coherence in how someone tracks a conversation, how they stay with sensation, how easily they can widen or narrow their focus without losing themselves. When attention is organized, awareness feels both stable and flexible at the same time. When it's not, you get two very familiar patterns. Either everything is flooding in, every sound, every thought, every signal, or the system narrows so hard that nothing else exists, like a small straw. Both are signs that something underneath isn't stable yet. And that is important. Attentional incoherence is often a symptom, not the root. Then there's identity, which is when things get real. Identity coherence isn't about self-image or empowerment or confidence. It's about whether someone can remain congruent when it costs them something. Whether their words line up with their actions under pressure, including when they don't want to do it anymore. Whether they can tell the truth, hold a boundary, make a decision without their body betraying them halfway through. When identity coherence is strong, things get simple. Speech is cleaner. Boundaries don't require force. There's less self-deception. When it breaks, you see loops. People will appease and then resent. They dominate and then collapse. They avoid, justify, explain, or circle. And those aren't abstract patterns, they're embodied. Breath changes, posture shifts, attention tunnels, energy spikes or drains. Identity cannot hold if the lower coherences are already failing. But once structure, energy, and attention are organized, identity becomes incredibly trainable. Finally, everything expresses itself in the field. Field coherence is also how the system meets other people and real environments, groups, conversations, conflict, leadership, intimacy. It's not charisma and it's not confidence. It's whether the nervous system can stay organized in relationship to self, the space, and others. When it's there, the person neither shrinks nor overwhelms the space. Others can track them easily. Their presence feels clear. When it's not, they can either disappear or become too much. And both are signs that the system can't regulate through interaction. Here's the part that matters most for coaching. These coherences don't fail randomly. They cascade. Structure goes, then breath. Breath scrambles the energy. Energy fractures attention. Attention destabilizes identity. And then identity collapses presence. And the rebuild follows the same logic in reverse. And this is why so much transformation feels hit or miss. The right tool applied at the wrong level still fails. Insight offered to a system that can't carry it still evaporates. The 5 coherences give you a way to see where the breakdown actually is, and therefore what's trainable next. In the next videos, we'll slow this way down, one coherence at a time, how it breaks in real clients, what coaches often mistake it for, how to recognize it before the session even starts. This is like coaching masterclass on steroids, and I can't wait to share it with you, because once you can see coherence, coaching stops being guesswork and it becomes living architecture. If this framework resonates, all of this is laid out in much more depth in our book, Becoming the Grand Formidable. This is where we map the 5 coherences, how they break and how they're rebuilt in sequence. Not philosophically, but somatically. And if you're someone who wants to train this work, not just understand it, I co-lead a practice-based community called The Prestige with my partner, Tom Fazio. That's where we work with these patterns and in bodies, in rooms, under real pressure and creative amplifiers. If that sounds like something up your alley, please shoot us a message. I'll leave the link down below.